I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. Psalms chapter 40, verses 1. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing us with another opportunity to congregate in your presence. Thank you for blessing us thus far, Lord. If we are just now starting our day, thank you for waking us up. If we've been in our day, Lord, thank you for blessing us to have a great day thus far. And if we are ending our day, thank you for blessing us to get through a great day, Lord. Thank you for all your mercies. Thank you for your love and your care that has been bestowed upon us, Lord. Thank you for your faithfulness to us. Thank you for just being with us, Daddy. And so, Lord, I ask that you would just sit with us, Lord, that you would come dwell within the midst of us, Father. I ask that you would forgive us for all of our sins, knowingly and unknowingly, Lord. And I ask that you would just bless us in whichever way you see fit, Lord. Just bless us. We just want to be blessed, Daddy. Mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, Lord, in whatever form, just let it be rained down on your babes, Lord. And so I ask as we sit together, Father, that you would fill me with your presence, with your love, with your light, with your truth, that everything I speak, it is from you. That is nothing about me, Lord. It's all about you. It's about Jesus and your goodness. And this is none of my glory, nothing for me. I'm just a vessel, Lord. Help me to speak what you need me to speak, what you want me to speak, and the things that I don't need to speak, please keep me from saying it. And Lord, to the ones watching, I ask that you would just reveal yourselves to them in ways that only you can, in ways where they know it's you, that they know you're trying to form a bond with them, Lord, and cultivate a bond with your babes, please. I ask to anybody who may be listening that has a broken heart or a discouraged spirit, that you would uplift them, Lord, that you would let your love and your light reassure them that they are doing well and that they are going to get over this, that it is going to be peaches and greens, Lord. Please comfort them and reassure them, Lord. Please keep those who want to self-harm or unallow themselves. I keep them from making those choices, Lord. Really touch their minds, remind them that they are loved and seen, that they are special, that they are needed, that they are wanted, Lord. And Father, I just love you. I ask that you would mend relationships, Father, and that you would just be in the midst of your babes, Lord. And Daddy, all these things we thought to ask for but didn't, please grant it in your grace. In Jesus' name we give thanks and pray. Glory be to God. Thank God. Amen. All right, babies. So I hope that you've been well and swell. Listen, let me go ahead and warn you now. I am so sorry if at any point in this video you see me mess with anything on this fro. I feel like I finally got it where I wanted to be at. But my mama, she's a hairstylist amongst many other things. That's one of her titles though. And so, and like, no, she actually has her license. Like, yeah, we out here. We out here, okay? And so I get nervous when I'm looking at my hair and I'm like, oh, because I do not want her to watch this and be like, Victavia, because I'll be like, Summer didn't do it, Bucko, we didn't do it. So I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try not to play with the hair, but if I do, you'll understand why. All right, and so hello, welcome. I hope that you've been well. I hope that you've been swell. Okay, so let's jump up into it. Okay, let's just jump in that thing. All right, so tonight we're talking about Job. Okay, so Job, I actually just got through studying Job again. Okay, and Job, man, okay, he goes through some things, all right? And so we're talking about Job. So let me get my thoughts together and get you to where we're supposed to be at. So we're going to be reading chapter 10. So let me get there and then tell you what I want to tell you, because we everywhere. Okay, so Job. So let me give you the backstory of Job. So Job We don't really know much about him, okay? He's just this man in the Bible that his story was included. So here's how it went, right? The Lord in all his splendor and all his glory and all his majesty, he's sitting around talking with his sons. Here comes Satan. And basically, the Lord's like, what you doing here, bucko? And Satan's like, me just going to and fro, seeing who I can knock off. And the Lord's like, well, have you considered Job? Okay, the Lord, he not quite literally knock off, okay? I don't want you thinking the Lord was like, go knock him off, okay? But Satan was going to and fro seeing like who he could devour, and trip up. And the Lord was like, have you considered Job? And Satan was like, Job, that Job over there, Job, the blessed Job, the Job that you are not letting anybody near, Job, for real, that Job. And so, they go back and forth, and the Lord is like, look, everything that Job has is yours except for his life. Like, you cannot, have his life, but you can have his possessions. And so Satan is like, if he loses his possessions, he'll like, forsake you or whatever, and so the Lord's like, all right, let's see. And so the Lord is telling Satan, like, he's the most righteous man. Like, he's, dang near perfect. You're not gonna find any faults in him. Job, y'all, Job has riches and splendor, okay? He had the oxen, he had the asses, okay? He had the hay bales. I don't know. He had the fields, he had the children, he had the familia, like he had the life, right? The wife, he had it all. Like, he was a wise man. Like, it was even stated in my notes that he was like a priest because he had so many great things. He just had like an abundance. He even had workers, all right? He had people coming to him giving him the news, okay? He had people tending to his animals. And so anywho's Satan basically causes things to go haywire in Job's life, all right? And he essentially loses everything except for his wife. Like, y'all, he loses everything. His house, all right? What, like, imagine it in this day and time. That's like you losing your house, your car, your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lose all of this in a day. Like, you're losing this back to back to back. Like, first let's put it like this. First you lose your house. All right? Then you no. First you lose your loved one. So if you got a family, children, wife, husband, significant other, dog, little Cujo, okay, you got a goldfish, they going bye-bye. They go, all right? Then you lose like your house. Then you lose like your car, okay? And then you lose your phone. Because this obviously has to go too. Like, Job lost everything. So you have to lose everything except for the clothes on your back and your significant other, because he still had his wife. And yeah, he lost everything. And so now Job, where we're picking up on the story, is Job is lamenting. He's basically just grieved out. His friends, he has 3 friends who've come to visit him from different locations. It's like the eldest, the middle child, and the baby. They come to visit him, right? And they sit with him. And y'all, honestly, his friends, I'm bring it back around the mountain to them in a little bit, but I will say they did sit with Job for a good amount of time before they said anything. But it's just like, when y'all did speak, you didn't have to say that. Like, if that was the case, I would have rather you just came and kept silent. We could have all just grieved and lamented together, all right? Like, rip the sackcloth, rip it off, okay? Shave the hair, all right? Put the ashes on me, let's weep. But what you're not gonna do is sit here and make me feel like I'm the reason all of this has happened. So, let's get into it. Like, are you my friends or aren't you my friends? Okay. Grace and mercy, because the Lord teaches us that as well. So help me, Lord, to not get overly emotional at these friends. So that's the backstory of Job. He had everything, and then literally in a day he lost everything. And so then Satan goes back to the Lord, and he once again, he offers up Job. He's like, what about Job? You know what I'm saying? Job's still looking good over here. And Satan's like, okay, yeah, but if you let me afflict his body, he wouldn't praise you. He'd curse your name. So the Lord was like, try it. And so, yeah, Job, he has these sores on him, these boils, and bro, is just going through it, right? And so by this time, his wife is like, you need to curse God and go on with your life. And Job is like, no, I'm about to curse you, and you about to go on with your life, Roberta, because you're not doing this. And so, yeah, so everything you think you can go through, Job went through that times too. Things you think you can go through, he actually went through. The diseases you think you can have, Job had them, bro. After losing everything, and then this man gets sick. And Job, let me just say this real quick. I can understand because, when I first read Job, it just seemed like he was always like, oh, woe is me, once again. But when I read back over it, and then especially this year of my life, this past year of my life, I have felt like Job, okay? And I ain't even went through half, not even a fraction of what Job done went through, and I felt like him, okay? Job has begged for death so much, and now I'm like, let the rapture come. Let the fire fall, Father. And we have had to have the Lord be like, bring it in and shut it down, Jonah, because you are fine. All right. And so let us get into this. See. Okay, we gonna get into it. All right. So I want to read you guys chapter 10 first. So this is called Job's weariness of life. My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Shew me wherefore thou contendest with me. Is it good unto thee that thou shouldest oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as men seeth? Are thy days as the days of men? Are thy years as man's days? That thou inquirest after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin? Thou knowest that I am not wicked, and there is none that can deliver out of thine hand. Thine hands have made me, and fashioned me together round about. Yet thou dost betray me. Right, Lord, let's reel it in. We were getting into it too much. Let's reel it back. All right, okay. Yet thou dost destroy me. Remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as the clay, and wilt thou bring me into dust again? Hast thou not poured me out as milk, and curled me like cheese? Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitations hast preserved my spirit. And these things hast thou hid in thine heart. I know that this is with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity. If I be wicked, woe unto me. And if I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore see thou mine affliction, for it increaseth. Thou huntest me as a fierce lion. Huntest me as a fierce lion. And again thou shewest thyself marvelous upon me. Thou renewest thy witnesses against me, and increaseth thine indignation upon me. Changes in war are against me. Wherefore then thou hast brought me forth Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Oh, that I have given up the ghost, and no eye had seen me. I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and to the shadow of death, a land of darkness, as darkness itself, and the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness. Okay. Hello, friends. Welcome back. You see my face? We are gleeful about that. I felt that. Okay, I felt that. So you gonna see. Let's talk about this first. So Job was confused, right? He was hurting. He was angry. He was bitter. And you have to understand, it seems a bit dramatic, but when you go through things, like I'm talking about, like I said, I haven't even went through half of what Job went through, but I've went through some rocky, shaky stuff, okay? Very, very shaky. And so I can only imagine how Job is feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? I would have been yelling at everything, bro. And then to have my friends come and start persecuting me and blaming me, because yes, this. Okay, wait. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is the first friend. The first friend is basically like saying, you did this, okay? And Job is still lamenting, like, oh Lord, why are you doing this? Like, why is this happening to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and now he's saying this, like, why me, Lord? Like, Job is just feeling, and he has a right to feel these things. Like, he just experienced something traumatic and horrible, and back to back. It's not as if these happen over time. This happened in one day. Like, gosh. And then he got sick the next day. Job was persecuted for his feelings, for his life. Okay, and I'm gonna put this. Let me put this one to here too. Job was honest with God and man about how he felt. So I put Job was honest with about his life because, you know, Job, he was upset. Like, obviously so. This man, I keep saying that he experienced something traumatic, right? And here comes his friends, like the people you are rocking with, the people that's supposed to make life good when life is not 𝕯𝖍𝖎𝖘. Like the people who's supposed to have your 6, your 12, your 1145, like your 607, like your 248. Like these people are supposed to have you at every turn. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have his back. Like the first one has literally, instead of saying like, I'm so sorry for your loss, but only the Lord knows. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying something like that, his friends immediately go in on him. And what makes me the most upset with his friends is like, none of them took the time to just say, Job is grieving and that's okay. Or none of them took the time to be like, you're hurting and that's fine. You're upset and that's justifiable. You feel angry and that's okay. None of them did that for Job. All of them went straight for, you're guilty, you're prideful, you're sinful. It was as if he was on trial by his friends. And every time Job was like, no, like this is not right, or like, no, this is not the case, or like, oh, I know God too. It was like his friends were not satisfied with the fact that like he could think for himself and feel for himself. They just wanted him to be wrong. Like, can y'all not let this man live and have a moment to just be human? But you know, even in spite that, like, he was also honest with God. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he was angry and bitter, he didn't try to hide it from God. Like, he didn't try to change his thoughts when he thought about it or be like, oh, nah, God, like, it's really not like that. Like, he was honest. He was like, yeah, God, this is how I'm feeling. I mean, it bit him in the booty later, but he was like, yeah, God, like, this is what it is. Like, this is how it's feeling, how it's gonna be, how it's looking like. How it's feeling like, Lord. And so yeah, he was honest. He was honest with both his friends and the Lord. Like, he didn't hide away from what he felt. Okay. Also, I just now, the title of this is called Withholding Nothing. You got this far in for, I'm so sorry, but Withholding Nothing is the title of this. And so, of course, if you want to see the shorter version of this one, you can check out my Wednesday wellness called The Freedom of Speech. So, carrying on. Job had an unclear view of God, all right? He really did. So, I'm going to staple that right there and put this last thing right here, because I thought that this was an interesting fact, and this was in my notes, and I was like, God debated Job and asked him the most questions the Bible has. Like, the Lord literally was coming for Job and was like, nah, you gonna have to get it together. So hang on, let me see. Okay, yeah, so Job got asked. Job got asked 83 questions. All right. The Lord asked Job 83 questions because Job, like, yes, Job was lamenting and he was grieving, and that's fine. And this comes back to Job had an unclear view of God, because see, in Job's mind, the Lord was the one doing this. Job was coming to God from a place of like, we are enemies. Like, I don't know when we became enemies. I thought we were good, but here you are doing all of this to me, and I don't understand why you're doing this to me. And so, like, you know, like, he has all these questions and these feelings, but that's not what's happening here, you know, but that's what he feels. Because who knows, he could have just been taught that, because I know I've been taught that, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But yeah, Job, you know, he's like, Lord, if you can find any faults in me, then like tell me and I'll repent. But like, Lord, I did this, like I did that, and I don't think, and yes, it looks like in a way Job is boasting, like, Lord, I did this, I did that. But I can understand in Job's mind, he's trying to petition, like, Lord, like, take a look at my life, like, take account for the things I've done for you. Like, I've been humble, like, not trying to be prideful, but I've checked on your sick people. Like, I've been a friend to your widows. Like, I've been out here in these streets, Lord. Like, you know, don't do your boy like this. Like, I understand, Job. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't feel like I said at first, Job, he didn't have a clear view of who God was, because he felt like, you know, the Lord was doing it out of anger towards him, and that was not true. And so now I want to read you guys chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And it was so, that after the Lord had spoke these words unto Job, the Lord said unto Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, and that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Namathite. Hang on, y'all. Namathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them, and the Lord also accepted Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters and all they had that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapuk. And in the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died being old and full of days. And so I just want to put in there to notice that, like, the Lord blessed Job so much in the end. Like, Job was restored. Like, literally anything he could have ever asked for or hoped for, he got. Like, the Lord multiplied it back to him, and that is just that's so beautiful to me. Like, the Lord, he is just he is such a beautiful man. I am a person who has always been very good at understanding others, yet it took me so long to know myself. I'm 28. I feel like I truly met Victavia at 26. One of the hardest things in life to do is to look in the mirror and realize, yes, you are a part of the problem, and no, you are not perfect. This is another stage of wisdom, okay? And so, growing up, one of the things I dealt with too was like emotional abuse. And I didn't really realize that it was a problem until my best friend and I tried to get closer. And really, when I started walking with God and started deconstructing my life and just patterns of my past, that's when I was like, okay, like, there is a little bit of an issue here. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I feel like I got done a lot too was whenever I guess if I went through something and I needed my friends' approval, growing up, a lot of times I got told I was wrong. I was the issue. I was the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way things happen, I must have been crazy for believing that things were happening that way, because they absolutely were not happening that way. And because of that fact, I have always overthought things a lot in my life. I've always overthought things. Like, if somebody didn't text me for 10 minutes, I would assume that I was the most horriblest person ever, and that obviously they hated me because they were not responding. And, I think too, especially, that made me seem very needy, like when it came to crushes, because if somebody didn't text me back, I wanted to know, what did I do to you? Like, come and tell me, like, let me explain this, let me make it better, like, let me fix this so you won't, you know what I'm saying, go away from me. And so I used to always assume that I knew what other people were thinking about me. Like if somebody gave me a look a certain way, I would think a certain way. Like if somebody, maybe looked at me like, I'd be like, oh my God, they hate me. Like they must think, this shirt is horrible, Or if somebody like was to look at me right now and be like, or if I look up at somebody's just kind of like, I'd be like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, is it my fro? Like, is it my necklace? Is it because I'm black? Is it because I'm black? Is something that I've used more times than I would like to admit, but I've used that a lot. And so, even being vulnerable, it has been something that's very hard for me because even my mom, I love her. I love my mom. She's one of my closest relationships, one of my deepest relationships. But even her, sometimes I have found myself, if she says something, or if she reacts a certain way, I have assumed that she's like angry with me, or that like, like she doesn't want to hear it, or that I made her mad or something. And it's not like that. It's truly not like that. And so I've sheltered myself even from my mom at times. And she's always been gentle. She's always heard me. She's never pushed me away or shunned me. But I think this goes back to, especially when I had that whole online abusive relationship, my mind kind of just broke in terms of like the acceptance and like overthinking and over processing and over feeling so much, and especially then I became so guarded and so closed up. And I didn't say that in the last video podcast I did, but I became so vulnerable. I became guarded. I had up a lot of walls. Like it was hard to really talk about my feelings or my emotions. I hid things. I was just scared to express myself because I felt like if I expressed myself, I would be wrong, or like my answers would be wrong, or people would be mad at me because of how I felt. So I didn't want to say anything and make people mad. Hence the porn addiction getting so much worse because I just would not talk about my feelings. I ran to try to cope, because I thought that coping like that was like the best thing to do, and it absolutely was not the best thing to do. And so like when I went to Korea, I thought I knew God pretty well. We were talking, like I had known of him my whole life, so I thought that like I knew him pretty good. But when I came back home and I really started talking to him and I really started like reading his word again and really searching and seeking him, and like I say, I would have these dreams and I knew that they were from God because I know, okay, like he's been talking to me my whole life, so I know when he speaks to me. And so when I finally started talking to him again and like praying to him and being vulnerable, and I feel like my addiction was one of the most vulnerable things I ever had to confess to God, because to me that was like the oh my God kind of sin, especially because I want to honor the Lord with my virginity, but I've been teetering to this very dangerous line with my virginity, and so like having to go back to God and like talk about that to me was just like it was so hard, y'all. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard admitting to God what I did. It was hard. He was there. He saw it. But to formulate it and put it in words and be like, I know that you know that I know that you were there seeing what I did. You saw me do this, like, and I, because like Job, I didn't know God. I was so afraid that God was sitting there judging me like, yeah, you right, I saw you do that. You finally here talking about it, like you finally going on up to it. Because when he was talking to Job, he was like, gird up your voice, and I was like, Lord, put it away, Jesus. But even in speaking like that, you have to realize the Lord truly is not mean, okay? And I truly feel like when I came to the Lord, he was so gentle with me. That man loved on me. He never once made me feel condemned or feel guilty. More than anything, he just helped me see and realize where I went wrong and like where my logic started to falter, and it was not true. Like, the things I thought were not true. And so, just talk to the Lord. Truly let him love on you. Like, let him heal you, because the Lord, he's faithful. He's a good friend to have, and he's so caring, and he's so kind, and he loves you. He loves you, and he wants the best for you. He truly does. Like, he is your friend, and I don't want you to think that you can't be completely honest with God, because you can, and you can talk to him in any way you want. I was telling my best friend that, I'm like, girl, I say anything to the Lord, and just like in any way, like how I'm talking to you, this is how the Lord get it. I will talk to the Lord like this, but the camera can be off. Like, the way my hands is moving, I talk to the Lord like that. That is my dad. Like, he made me like this, and he knows that I'm like this. So if he knows me, the Lord is the only person who knows every part about me inside and out. I can be completely myself with him, and he's not going to judge me, because he made me like this. So why not be me? Why not just be me and enjoy it? And so I have had to learn to just be honest with God, because that truly seems like where everything starts. If you can't be honest with the one who created you, you're not going to be honest with yourself. You're not going to be honest with yourself, and you're not going to be honest with the ones you love. And if you can't be honest with those people, the important people, then what are you doing? You're not going to make it, okay? And so it takes time, and it's not easy, because opening up to my best friend at first, especially like knowing, or is, I guess, to me, because she has never made me feel like I've done anything wrong. So let me put that here before I explain it. But I just felt like, as far as being a friend goes, I had points in my life where I was not a great friend to her. Now, leave it to her to tell it I've been the best friend in the best world. And no, okay? We have always been close. We've always been great friends. But I just feel like, on my part, looking back, there's a lot of things I could have done right by her. She has never said this to me. It's just something that I have had to feel, And I guess you could say that was something in my life I regretted, because I realized how my relationship had affected my friendship with her. And so opening up to her, and like just having a bond with her, and trying to make it better at first, it was hard. Opening up to my mom and being honest with her about everything, especially about the fact that I had a girlfriend, was hard, because I never wanted to tell my mom I had a girlfriend, because I never wanted my mom to have to hear that from me, because we are Christian and everything. But even that, I had to realize my mama wouldn't judge me. She didn't judge me when she heard it, and so even that, though, it was just hard for me to open up and talk about those things, because of my premonitions, because I thought I knew what people felt, and I was wrong, and I judged so many people. And even when I went back to look at like my concert videos, and I was like, because some things that happened in those videos was so much different from what I thought I remembered that happened. And I was like, oh, because I had much better experiences than I originally thought. Okay. And I did not know that until I went back and watched them, and I was like, your confidence needs to get boosted, but that's okay. You live and you learn. And so I said all that to truly say, be honest once again about how you feel. And notice, God was not angry with Job. God accepted Job for his feelings. Even in all his grief and his anguish, Job never sinned against God. God never said Job sinned against him. God never thought Job was unrighteous. God always was there with Job. Even though Job felt so much and he didn't understand, Job didn't understand that God was not like that. So he was not wrong, because the things he said about God were true. For instance, he was like, God gives and God takes away. in a sense, that is true. That is true. But God does not take away from us. He adds to us. And if the Lord gives you something, it's not Him taking away from you. He will allow things to get taken from you. But don't ever think that the Lord is just going to rip something from you, because I feel like then you get caught up thinking, if you don't live this perfect life, or if you don't do these perfect things, like the Lord is going to come and as punishment, take things from you because, you get raised like that, or you get conditioned to believe that. And that's not who the Lord is. That's not true. And so, Job just had to get a better understanding of God. But if Job would have never questioned God and allow God to talk back to him, he never would have learned God. And I can personally say I've been through that too. If I would have never opened my mouth and talked to the Lord and asked Him to come and truly walk with me and believe, but just believe that He was walking with me, talking with me, I wouldn't know the Lord like I know Him now. Like, I would not have this confidence in Him unless I also had to go through a moment where, like, there was a bunch of fire and chaos, and I had to walk with the Lord. Now, granted, the Lord didn't tell me to gird up your loins, because I probably would have cried, but I had moments too where I had to realize, okay, this is not God, and I was wrong in my assumption of who the Lord is. And so just be very mindful that, yes, you can and you should, you should learn the Lord. You should definitely build a bond with Him. Things are going to happen. You're going to have questions, okay? He can handle your questions. The Lord is not afraid of you. He's not afraid of you. He's not afraid of your questions, okay? He made you. He made your brain. He knows everything you're going to think. He knows everything you're going to feel. Just don't run from it. Don't run from your feelings. Don't lie to Him or lie to yourself. Like, be real, be authentically real about how you feel, because the Lord can handle it, okay? He can handle it, and you're not going to be in trouble. He's not going to strike you down. Like, He's not going to be angry with you. The Lord is your friend, and He truly is gentle, and He has such a tender heart, and He is so loving, and He is so kind. So don't ever feel like you can't talk to Him. He's your personal diary, your living, breathing diary. Anything you tell the Lord, He's not going to go and tell somebody else. You can tell Him about something that happened between you and Susie's salad at the store. He ain't going to go back and be like, Susie, girl, listen, last week on Tuesday at 3:59, you bumped into Sarah Johansson and she didn't like that. He's not going to do that, okay? So just don't be afraid of Him. Don't be afraid of the Lord. And so, yeah, you're going to be okay. Just talk to God. Talk to Him. And so just remember, be honest with God. He made you. Be vulnerable. Speak freely without fear. Let God respond, okay? Let Him respond. Be expecting to His responses. Like, y'all, it's so wild because literally this year I have experienced praying for things, and literally the next day the prayer is answered, or within an hour the prayer is answered. And sometimes, a lot of the times, I didn't even know that He was answering the prayer. I didn't even know He was working it out, bro. But like, jokingly, I've asked Him for something. For instance, let me tell you this cute one to end it off the note, because it's cute enough. Like, I've had other ones that have happened, other deep and like, once. This one is cute. It's short, sweet, and simple, and I really love it because it meant a lot to me, because I'm a foodie. We love food around here, okay? We love greasy food around here. And so I was talking to the Lord one day, and I was thinking about a pizza. I love stuffed crust pizza, okay? Love it. It's cheese pizza already. Stuffed crust pizza? Yes, bro. And so I told the Lord, I'm like, look, if you provide me with the money, yes, I will get a pizza. Now, this is so because I didn't have a job at the time. So, me telling the Lord to provide me with this, you're going to have some kind of miracle fall out the sky for me to get this money, because I don't have a form of income. Like, I don't have no money. You know what I'm saying? And like, We don't eat out. We eat here. You know, you can cook. All right, you ain't gonna be eating that grease in here. It's not just, they not like that, but you know, it's not like that. We cook, and so I told the Lord that. I asked him for the money or whatever have you, and so I was talking to my dad. He calls me, and he goes, "I'm sending you some money, you know, like just to have." And y'all, the money he sent me was enough for 2 pizzas. And so I like cried because I was so stoked that the Lord, to me, it was such a simple and funny conversation. Like, yeah, Lord, like, yeah, I believed him, but I'm like, okay, Lord, yeah, like if you bless me with the money, yeah, I'll get it. But y'all, for him to turn around and like 30 minutes later have my dad call me and be like, listen, baby girl, I'm like, because I have come to know the Lord as my dad, my brother, my best friend, my husband. Truly, the Lord is all of that to me. And I was trying to explain to a couple of people, really one person, but I have had the same argument presented to other people. I presented to them. If I cannot know the Lord as my dad, as my husband, as my boyfriend, as my father, you know, as my brother, I think I said that, as my uncle, as whatever, how am I gonna know how to deal with any of those relationships? How am I gonna know how to formulate any of that? You know, like I'm not gonna know that. That's not gonna click and register for me. So I have to experience the Lord like that on every level. So to actually experience the Lord like that on every level and feel like, and just know, not even feel like, but just to truly know that like the Lord is here with me and like I'm good and he watching over me and protecting me, y'all, it's just something so different about it. You really need to have a relationship with the Lord. There's nothing like him. He is so faithful. He is such a friend. He is so sweet. He is so he's incredible. So if you ain't tried the Lord, here's your FYI to try him. Love on him, man. Let him love on you, all right? Because he cares for you. He made you. He cares for you. And he is a best friend. He will give you the desires of your heart. He will make you laugh. He will bust a joke with you in a heartbeat, okay? And it'll be the funniest thing. You'll be cracking up in the mall. You'll be cracking up at Walmart. And people may look at you and they don't understand, but that's because they not your human diary. You got a fleshly human diary, okay? And you got 3 of them. You got the Father, you got the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Look at you go, bro. But yes, so please be encouraged. Have a bond with the Lord. He is a good friend to have. I can't say it any other way outside of that. I can't stress it to you no more. Just love on him and let him love on you, and just trust him. Trust in him. Believe in him. Be vulnerable. Truly. Open your mouth and speak. I have tried holding things in. I've tried being that tough girl that, you know, or the one that always smiles and, you know, wants to be optimistic and want people to believe that, like, there's nothing wrong with you. And I smile now. I've had one of the happiest weeks I've had in my natural born life this past week, you know. But I have had to learn that you're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some days where all you can do is cry, but you're going to be okay. It will be well. And so, my friends, if there's anything you want me to pray with you about, please comment and let me know. Please talk to me. If you struggle with vulnerability, let me know if that's something you want to pray with as well. If you would like to know any more stories and cases about my vulnerability and lack thereof, there's a couple, you know, I can talk to you about it as well if you want me to go more in depth about that. But hopefully this was good enough for you. I really do hope that I could encourage you. As always, take things back to the Lord. Let him talk to you about it and reveal to you what it is that he wants you to know. I think if you are struggling with just talking to the Lord or dealing with any kind of loss or, you know, grief behind any loss, you know, that you have experienced, whether it's like dealing with possessions or friends or anything like that, go read Job. It truly is a good story. Like, read it. Put yourself in Job's shoes, man, because like I say, we can lose the bare minimum. He lost so much, you know, and just being reassured that he was okay and feeling those feelings, that makes me love God even more, because it's like, dang, you didn't even get mad at him for being a human. His friends did, but you didn't. And so that's just how loving God is, you know. And when it says like, my thoughts are not your thoughts and my ways are not your ways, like that's literally the Lord proving how true his word is. So anyways, I love you guys. Okay, please be blessed. Please always do remember that the Lord does love and bless you. May he keep you. I believe in you. I love you. And I hope whenever you view this, you have the most blessed, incredible of days, or the most blessed, incredible of nights. Goodbye, guys.